Page 20, Malagueña. They say Malagueña. I say Malagueña. Whatever. It's a Spanish dance, a type of dance. I like Latin American music. It's really neat. It's got great rhythms to it. Oh, and the harmonies. Anyways, back to the subject. I look it over. It's about a page and a half long. Treble bass clef. No sharps in the flats in the key signature. I've been telling you it's in C major with no sharps or flats. Well, surprise, surprise. There's actually another key with no sharps or flats. And that is a minor key, because we got major keys and minor keys. There's others, but don't go there. Just majors and minors. So now, instead of just saying the major, I got to tell you what the minor is too, because this is in the minor. So C major has no sharps or flats, and A minor has no sharps or flats. Try and memorize that if you can. A minor, no sharps or flats, all the white keys. However, because there's different flavors of minors, you're liable to see some F sharps and G sharps in it. I don't want to go into detail as to why. There are reasons. But right now, just know that A minor has no sharps or flats, but you're going to get accidentals sometimes. And 3/4 time signature. Let's take it one hand at a time. Right hand. Now, the first measure is actually left hand. The first two measures, I should say, is left hand. And then the right hand, because you see the bottom staff in the first two measures is empty. Technically, you shouldn't do that. What they've done is they've taken both staves and kind of combined them together, and they're only using one staff for a couple of measures. So the first two measures, it's only the one staff, and then it splits out, and they give you rest signs at the bottom measures. So they could have printed it another way, but it's just easier to read if you do it this way. The left hand's going to do the first two measures up here, because treble clef, and the right hand comes in on measure 3. It's here. That's 1. You cross over. We've already done this crossover. That's no big deal. And then in the second line, in the second measure, the right hand is reading the bottom staff. You're down here. Down there. Oh, isn't that fun? And then the last measure of the second line, you're back up here. And they have a G sharp and an E here together. You can do a 1/5 if you fit up here, okay. If you don't fit up here, I don't know how big your hands are, how fat your fingers are, you can do a 2/5 if you need to. I usually do out of habit. I like to stay out here as much as possible. I don't like being up in here. It's kind of dangerous when you're getting in between these keys and you get stuck, caught, or whatever. Ugh. Then, third line, we're here. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. Crossover. And that's tied for a couple measures. Isn't that fun? And second line on page 21. Crunch up a little bit. It's a little finger. 2, 3, 1. We're doing that some more. Okay. The fourth line on page 21. The right hand's down here. Here. This before, and then at the end of that line, the right hand's down here. And then you come up here to a G sharp. This is the last 3 measures at the bottom. It's a G sharp and an E. See, that's under the second ledger line. Well, one ledger line is middle C. You know that, I hope. 2 ledger lines, it's every other note, would be here. And that's right under it, so it's a G. Except it has a sharp, so it's a G sharp. And 1/5 or 2/5, don't care. And then here, the notes are written here at the end, here, and then here, and then here. But it has an 8/8 above the staff. So actually, it's up here. Here, for the last 2 measures. So you're coming from here to here. That's all right. You got 2 measure rest, or two beats rest. Left hand. Well, the left hand starts and you're up here. The end of the first line, the left hand's down here. Same notes. The end of the second line, the left hand's down here. E and a B. I trust you know the names of all the notes in the music, because if you don't, you really need to go back to the previous book and go through it again and learn the names of the notes in the music. Third line, back up here. Just reach down. Reach down again. We're just crawling down the keyboard. The the second line of the page 21, you crunch up, little finger. We're going to do it again. Don't lift and move. Connect these. And that's, for the most part, the left hand. So now we put them together and see what we get. And I'll hesitate, but that's okay. We're here to start, and you're here. But I'm going to get the left, keep the right hand out of the way so the left hand can do its thing. And then as that left hand comes in, the left hand will move. So it's right, left hand. And then you're down here in the left hand. Again, up here, the third finger. And then here. And then here. The right hand stays here, left hand comes up. Down to the fourth line. Actually, it's the third line. The last two measures, you're here. And then they want the right hand to keep going, so it's here. You're going to sound like one hand played it all. But the right hand's going to help out. The right hand here. The left hand down here. And again, left hand, right hand. Then both hands here, and then the last measure, the last two measures, the right hand comes up here. The left hand, the notes are here, but it has an ABA under it. Remember, that means go down. So rather than here, you're here. Here. And that's where you end up. Because the right hand went up and the left hand went down. Because that's the rule for ABA. If it's above the staff, you go up. If it's below the staff, you go down. And it only applies to the staff it's next to. If you're a little bit confused about that dashed line, because that tells you to continue the ABA. But you'll notice in the line above, there's a dashed line there between the staves all the way through. Well, look at the end of the third line, you have a crescendo there. So that dashed line in the fourth line applies to the crescendo. Not an AVA. There's no AVA there. It's a crescendo. You're going to continue to crescendo all that time. So let's talk dynamics. Start out very, very soft. Well, not very, very soft. It's just very soft. We can get softer than it, but really soft. Then you have that crescendo in the second measure. We're going to gradually get louder up to very loud. We haven't had very soft and very loud, have we? Oh, well, we better talk very soft and very loud, I suppose. You got two F's and two P's. They talk about them, the fortissimo and pianissimo. Very loud and very soft. It's not twice as loud or twice as soft. You don't multiply them. You don't add them together. It's just up a notch. Just give it a vary. From loud to very loud. From F to two F's or P to two P's. Soft to very soft. That's it. Because you can have more P's and F's than this. So it's just take it up or down a notch, whatever it is. So we're starting out very soft, and we're gradually going to go up to very loud for the end of the second line, or the last two measures of the second line. Actually, the last measure of the second line is really loud because of the accent. Well, you got to plan it out, because if you don't plan out your crescendo, you'll be really loud by the end of the first line. That's too soon. So we have to experiment. We're going to go from very soft to very loud, and how are we going to do this? Well, you do it a measure or two at a time, and we experiment. So in the second measure, I'm still very soft. I haven't changed yet. The right hand, I'll come up to maybe just soft here. Now I'll come up to, say, sort of soft. Now I'll come up to, say, sort of loud. Now loud. I save most of the crescendo toward the end, because a crescendo going up is not a straight line. It's just a little bit, and then toward the end of it, there you go. You shape it. So I did it like a measure or two at a time, or like a phrase. This was all one, and then the next one, a little louder, and then a louder. So each one of these got a little louder. I let the music tell me how to crescendo here. So very soft. And then because of the accent, you're going to be very loud. Now, third line is moderately loud. That's the melody. Sort of loud. This, soft. page 21, second line. Now you're very soft. And now you're soft, and you got that crescendo again. You're going to go back up to very loud. Let the music tell you to. Louder, louder, louder. Now, with the accent, you're going to end all of those with super loud, but don't bang on it. Let the wrist collapse a little bit. The wrists are shock absorbers. You're coming down very quickly with a lot of weight, but let the wrist collapse a little bit at the end. Here. Very loud at the end. On page 21, at the end of the first line, we're ending a phrase. Then go to the second line, it's a new phrase. I'm going to lift up. Like taking a breath, but I'm going to connect the left hand. I'm lifting up here, I'm going to connect that. So do that if you can, because I'm not going to lift up in one hand just because I lifted up in the other. No, please don't. Connect this left hand here, even though you're lifting up here. Then we talk about the speed. Again, sort of in the middle, but how fast do you want it? It's got to be accurate. Find the most difficult part in it for you, and how fast can you do that accurately, really? Because you're not going to go real fast. That's unnecessary, although some people would do that because it's fun. Slow it down a little bit. One, two, three, four. That's plenty. Now that's actually fast. You could even slow that down. 1, 2, 3. Now that's more moderato. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, somewhere. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. That's fine too. I don't think I'd take it any slower than that. Here. This is a festive dance. Now they've added pedal. And keep in mind, I've learned it up to this point with no pedal. I want to make sure that fingers and the hands are doing everything they're supposed to do, because the pedal, I can get sloppy and lazy with the pedal, so this is careful. I'm only going to try it first where they're marking it. And these markings, in my opinion, are just suggestions. Some teachers teach that, oh no, you got to follow these pedal markings in the book. You don't change those. I teach like, let's let the music tell us what needs to be doing with the pedal, because why are we pedaling? What's it for? What's it accomplishing? It needs to do something, or leave it out. At the beginning, they're pedaling the first two measures. This card, push the note down. Well, when it goes quickly, you almost have to push the pedal down with a note or you'll miss it. And if I do it that way, then this first couple of lines is this. At the end of the second line, the pedal goes down with the note and up with the note. Down with together. We're just giving that short note overtones, color. It helps to bring it out more, because it is a really loud note. I don't know that I like this. I think I prefer it clean. So, in my opinion, I would not use the pedal here until the end of the second line, and you can use it with a very loud note, and that's typical. We use pedal with the louder notes to give them the overtones. Give them more of a musical bang, but it's got to be a musical bang. And then we don't use it here, because this has to be clean here. And then at page 21, at the end of the third line, we get there. It's the same thing we were doing at the beginning. So if you used it at the beginning, you can use it here the same way. If you left it out at the beginning, then you'd leave it out here also, because you don't need it. However, the last line, again, the third measure, it goes down with a note and up with a note, because it reinforces that loudness. And then we don't need to pedal at the end, because that would smear it up. You just do it with that. You can, if you're quick, you can pedal with each note. Bum, bum, bum with the pedal. Or just pedal the last note. Because you go 1, 2 here. You could get away with just pedaling the last note in the piece there to give it the overtones. In my opinion, I'd leave the pedal out pretty much everywhere except the very loud notes. I just pedal those to give them overtones, and that's it. I wouldn't pedal anything else. Let's play this together very slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not doing louds and softs because we're not performing it. We're just checking notes and rhythms. I think I'm going to leave out the pedal because I'm just using it on the loud notes is all. So I'll just leave it out. I'll give us 3 counts. 1, ready, go. Rest, 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 rest. Rest, 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 rest.